And in this new America, would you say the new American dream is money?
Yeah, I mean, the old American dream is your money.
Yeah.
The new American dream is definitely your money, but you are being able to really, control your time,
Hmm.
you know, build it from a perspective where you feel really good about it, and it's going to be hard to get information and to know what you're doing, but once you get your groove, then I think it gets smoother, and then you just got to keep elevating and advancing yourself.
And we're back with another episode of FYM with Ty and Yo.
Uh-huh.
It's my man Ty.
Had that.
I'm Yo. You're a first time viewer. Welcome. FYM is an ignorant conversation about wellness. And this is our third season. So by now, hopefully the return viewers, y'all know what time it is. Ty, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling absolutely stupendous.
Stupendous.
I seen this thing on Instagram about being in Delulu land.
Delulu
Just being
land.
delusional. They call it Delulu land. No matter what's going on, everything is great.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, today we're going to talk about wealth building in New America. Because it's a new America.
Man.
We currently have a president that had felonies.
Felonies.
Yes, felonies.
Most high.
They got elected.
Right.
And once he got elected, they dropped him.
This
shit crazy.
Yo, I ain't never
So that's one thing. But I'm looking at my phone because I'm tracking Bitcoin, right?
Uh-huh.
And with wealth building, you buy and you hold.
Yeah.
Right? So 5 years ago, that would have been $6,500.
$6,500, you got you some Bitcoin.
Right. So $6,500, that's how much one Bitcoin was. So in 2019, that's before COVID hit.
Before COVID.
If you would have said, you know what? I believe in this new form of currency long term. I'm going to hold it for 5 years, right? So I'm going to say I got $100,000 that I just can risk losing. And I'm going to buy, Bitcoin. I'm gonna buy Bitcoin is $6,500. So that means that, let's see, how many Bitcoins?
By the time does that math, I'm gonna ask our show producer Vanessa. Vanessa, can you do a fact check for me? Can you tell me when the movie Dope came out with Shamik Moore?
So that means you have 15 Bitcoins.
15 Bitcoins.
In November 2020, November 24th, 2019.
Uh-huh.
If you held it for 5 years,
Uh-huh.
right, it'll be, right now today would be your 5 years.
If you held it for 5 years.
5 years, minimum.
What is the current value?
The current value of
Bitcoin.
The current value of Bitcoin is $97,000 right now.
$97,000.
So if you had invested $100,000 in November 2019, right now you would have $1.4 million.
Boy.
If you had just say, this is my Bitcoin, I'm not moving.
1.5
off 100 bands. 5 years.
Yes. The movie Dope was the first time I heard about Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about it in the movie. And even at that time, so that's 2015.
So now let's say, if you're going to go and you believe in something and you want to hold it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because holding something for 10 years is good as well.
Exactly.
So 2015, when did Dope come out? What month?
Do you know the month? Yeah.
Probably like the summer.
I want to say it was like a summer movie. I like this, man.
So we'll just say June.
June 19th, summer.
So it's summer, right? So June 16th, Bitcoin was $250.
Oh my God.
So if you said
if you would have left the movie theater.
2015, if you were just like, you know what, it's something about this digital thing, I'm going to be ahead of the curve, and I'm going to say, I got 100,000, and I'm going to go and buy this for 250. You will have 400 Bitcoins. If you take that 400 Bitcoins and you times it by $97,000, you would have $38 million. By holding it for 10 years,
you would have had $38 million.
I'm 40 years old. 10 years ago,
Yeah.
that's 2015.
Yeah.
I had enough money for 250 Bitcoin. I probably could have mustered up.
You could have ran it up.
I probably could have had me at least about 5 of them.
5 of them.
Five
Right.
of them.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
That
It'd
would
been
put
a
me.
little comfortable. It would put you a little behind, but
That'd put me about $400,000 up for 10 years of holding, right? So when we talk about the new America, we talk about wealth building. We have to talk about digital currency.
yes.
We have to talk about AI,
Yeah.
which is a development that is helping to drive digital assets,
100%.
right? We have to talk about not just real estate from a brick and mortar perspective, but we got to talk about real estate technology,
Mm-hmm.
the stock market,
Yeah.
because the stock market is still going to stay strong,
Yeah.
right? And you have to talk about creative creative assets, music publishing, master rights, right? And so the new America is, I seen this chart, right, where it tracks the Americans based on the time of the day, what they're doing. So it
Really.
starts about 4 o'clock in the morning all the way to like midnight. And every minute of the hour, it shows you
What?
where everybody's doing.
Yeah.
At the peak of the day, Americans are spending most of their time working
Mm-hmm.
and leisure.
Working and leisure.
And then the third thing is housework,
So like clean up your
like
home.
clean up your home, whatever, right? So when you start thinking about the future of like new America, those are going to be the three things that's going to help drive wealth, right? You got to figure out, you're going to be, and so we're clear. If you come into money or if you're an entrepreneur, you know that you're buying people's time.
Yep.
So they come work for you or with you.
Yep.
You're creating businesses where they will go and invest money into leisure activities.
Yep.
Right? Rather that is the actual leisure activity or anything that is a indirect source that's needed to create that leisure activity
Leads to
or
leisure.
the transportation to and from that leisure activity.
Absolutely.
Right? And then you got housework.
Yeah.
Anything that make housework easy, anything that make housework efficient, cleaning products, or a cleaning company, all of those different things, right? Convenience. And so the new generation of wealth
and what were you saying? How did you find that information?
It was on Instagram.
It was on Instagram.
Somebody shared it with me.
Gotcha.
I was just like, it was a study they did. They tracked 1,000 Americans.
Wow.
To do a sample study of what they're doing for their 24 hours a day.
Good information to have.
So now when I'm thinking about building a company, when I'm thinking about the things I'm investing in, right? I think leisure is a part of wellness.
Yep.
Right. I think, working is just something that, you can have a staffing company.
Yeah.
Right. You can have a personality. You can start building out personality tests that people can do about, effectively do they hiring. Right. You can have, what that did for me was there's this company called Acquire where you can go and you can acquire digital businesses. So there's a service that I saw, AI service that you can go and you can kind of like fine tune, use that service to develop your resumes. So now when I'm looking into, businesses that I want to purchase on the digital side that can be turnkey businesses that can be generated and operated by AI, I'm thinking about things that help people get jobs better.
Yep.
Things that help companies vet people to hire them better, things of that nature. So when you start talking about new America, start talking about wealth building, there are so many different moving pieces of it, and content is king because content is how people go about, advertising.
Yeah.
Right. That's how people discover your product,
right?
Discover your brand.
Absolutely.
And it's a direct correlation of like your personal brand if the content has people in it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right.
You think that's a major part?
Personal branding is going to be a major part because with AI coming into effect, you want to make sure that you can track your uniqueness. whatever that is,
Whatever that
whatever
might
your
be.
skill set might be. AI is not going to be replacing humans; it's going to be elevating humans, right? So if you know your skill set, you know what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to be able to grow fast using the technology. And AI is one of those technologies, right?
It's gonna rise you up.
So then we start talking about things like digital currency, right? They have this thing that's exploding right now on
Solana.
called Chill Guy.
Chill.
It's a meme coin
It's a meme coin.
called Chill Guy.
All
It's
right.
literally a cartoon character with his hand in his pocket. And he's just a chill guy,
He's just a chill guy.
right? And it's a article written about this one guy that invested $1,000 into Chill Guy, and then it started to grow, and he has a wallet right now that's worth like $1 million
Off Chill Guy.
off Chill Guy. It's happened like in the last 4 weeks.
Jesus. Now, I guess I never really understood meme coins. Like, why did the meme coins really take off?
So this is the thing about currency. Currency is we're not talking about commodities. We're talking about the dollar, the yen, the euro, just currency.
Right.
It's dictated based on the trust that the humans have in the currency.
Right.
Right. So, 3 million people in the United States of America trust a meme coin to be a commutative transaction.
Right.
That meme coin is going to grow value. That's just how the baseline of currency works. That's why digital currency, investing and holding digital currency for a long period of time is going to be important because it is going to continue to rise globally because it's the technology behind it, which is, blockchain technology.
Right.
Super transparent, easy to barter.
Yes.
So I can go and hire you and say, hey, would you consult with me on my book, or would you, do my, would you write me a bio, right? If I started, when I started consulting like full time, or taking meetings or whatever, I'm only gonna be accepting Bitcoin, like digital currency to pay me.
Yeah.
When I start doing things around personal branding and stuff like that, you want to keep me out? This is my wallet. You can pay me through this. That's the only payment I'm gonna accept.
I actually got paid doing a bio digital currency, exactly how you explained.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time I had ever had that exchange before. And it was such an easy transfer that I was like, dang, compared to, you do a net 30 for somebody and you waiting to get your direct deposit. Like, bro, I got that. Dang, I don't forgot what it was. It was like a 0.6, like Ethereum, something like that. Yeah, they paid me like Ethereum. And I was like, man, we're paying people in all kinds of ways now.
Having a diverse digital currency portfolio is going to be important in New America. It's going to be a way to build wealth.
What are 5 things you need to know about New America and wealth building? That's number 1, a
diverse crypto currency wallet. The second thing is a diverse conservative, investment portfolio, which is going to consist of annuities, T-bills, which is treasury bonds, municipal bonds, government bonds, high yield, cash management accounts like preferred deposits, which will yield you about 4% annually on your money. ETFs that pays dividends. So like the SP 500, stuff like that, those are considered ETFs. And then just blue chip stocks into like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia. Those are the things that when you say a diverse portfolio in terms of like investment, but it's still conservative, right?
Right.
Then the third thing is going to be real estate. Having single family homes, multi-family homes, having some stake in that, right? There's actually an app called Arrive where you can, as an individual, you can log into Arrive, and you can invest into single family homes as if it's a stock.
Wow.
So you can go to single family home. They're raising $300,000 to buy this single family home in Boulder, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
The company is managing it. They're putting a tenant in it, and then you get paid revenue from the rental,
Wow.
the renter that's renting, right?
And you can just do that through
Arrive,
crazy.
right? It's an app that Jeff Bezos started and created. I don't know how big of a funding partner is, but he's one of the faces of it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got the three is the real estate.
Yeah.
Fourth is investing into businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're investing into startups
Yeah.
or you're acquiring businesses that are already generating money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those type of things are just like very, very important, right? So startup, I mean, you were talking about startup businesses. If you can invest early and that business blow up, you know,
Bonus.
you
Yeah.
get 3x, 4x, 5x on your business. And then the the fifth thing, I think we're on the fifth thing. So the
Yes, sir. We are.
first is diverse crypto wallet,
Yeah.
diverse conservative investment portfolio,
Yeah.
real estate,
Yeah.
um, investing into startups
Yeah.
and business and founders.
Acquiring. Right.
And then the fifth thing is IP, either
IP.
creating your own IP
Mm-hmm.
or acquiring IP. And IP can be anything from rights to publishing,
Mm-hmm.
rights to music assets, or rights to somebody's life story. That's a
Right.
valuable asset. Rights to a Broadway play.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, things that can make money. Content, rights to content. So like
Mm-hmm.
a short film or stories,
Right.
things that can make money while you sleep, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they're on streaming or they're on YouTube channels, buying
Acquiring
YouTube
YouTube
channels.
channels. Yeah.
Those are all asset driven things.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the five things to kind of like really look at from a new America perspective, and none of those things are working a job for
No.
somebody. We're talking about building wealth.
Also, these all seem to be deeply connected to the digital landscape that we live
Yeah, it's definitely the digital side of it is definitely gonna be a important part
in. Mm-hmm.
globally.
But even more so now, you feel like this new
Definitely even more so
America, your digital footprint is going to be important for your wealth building.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yep.
But how do you? Okay, let's take a step back. Looking at how Bitcoin grew over time, like
Right.
what does that tell you about the new American mindset you should have about being patient with these investments?
I think that growth of Bitcoin is just showing how serious it's going to get and that it's going to be used in banks. It's going to be used in government.
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting more serious.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's just getting more serious. It took 10 years. I
It
just
took
told
10
you
years.
10
Yeah.
years ago, streaming took 10 years.
Yeah.
Streaming hit United States of America from a music side 2012.
Yep.
By 2022, companies have started making so much money. In 2022, streaming showed you that it was recession proof,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm. It did.
Right. Basketball showed you it was recession proof.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that continued to happen during COVID
Yeah.
are the businesses that you
Yeah.
should be invested into.
Mm-hmm.
Digital currency, the live entertainment,
Right.
a lot of those things kind of like showed you what it can be in
Right.
those regards. So you talk about streaming 10 years when Netflix first started versus 10 years from that,
Right.
Bitcoin 10 years, like
Dang,
it's crazy.
you're right though. Especially looking at like again what was able to maintain itself through COVID. Because a
Hmm.
lot of businesses did not maintain themselves through COVID.
Yep.
There was a lot of shuttering on company sides. And I think about Netflix being so early when you compare it to like a Blockbuster.
Hmm.
Bro, Blockbuster was all over Atlanta, Georgia
Yep.
when I was a child. You will not see one today. Does
No,
not exist.
no.
Versus when Netflix first came in, they were doing DVDs, right?
Mhm.
Look at how they transitioned into streaming and the boom they're having right now.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not only is it solid to think about New America in the digital kind of mindset, but I'm loving how you're taking it from 10 years. What a 10-year gap can do to a company.
Yeah, 1,000%. Another thing to be important to understand about the stock market and stuff like companies like Tesla.
Hmm.
Tesla, I think, has 10,000 Bitcoins on their balance sheet.
Hmm.
So you seeing this rise of Tesla and coinciding with the
The
rise
rise
of
of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin
Hmm.
is because they got about 10,000 coins on
Wow.
their balance sheet.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the price point that those coins got acquired at, but that's just a smart move with a founder of a company understanding the
The
value of
value.
digital and putting
Right.
those on the balance sheet for a company.
Early. So if someone has a company that's not necessarily deeply associated with digital currencies, how would you recommend them transition into New
Um,
America?
First of all, you gotta get educated.
Hmm.
You gotta get educated because if you don't get educated, you're not going to. It's going to be hard to thrive, right? It's going to be hard to get to the next level, not just in America, just in your own life,
Hmm.
because times is changing. You know what I'm saying? Like the creativity is going to be a commodity.
A commodity.
Being having creative ideas,
Hmm.
being creative, figuring out how that's going to be it's going to be a commodity
Hmm.
because it's something that is so tough to break through because it's a lot of like not a lot of great inventions, not a lot of great ideas.
Hmm.
People are hungry to invest into great ideas,
Yeah.
and you just got to know what that looks like and what that is for you. You know.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I had a Uber ride where a young man was telling me that he was from Philly and that in Philly the violence that he was experiencing was getting really, really bad. His cousin got murdered, and he knew the neighborhood, the people who did it, and felt like reacting. He said the only thing that stopped him from reacting was YouTube.
Hmm.
He was on YouTube educating himself about credit.
Hmm.
He said he did that and like blessed to have an old friend who he knew in kindergarten. She ended up becoming a famous makeup artist, and she got a contract to do makeup in Atlanta, Georgia, for all the young ladies on Love and Hip Hop.
Hmm.
She asked him to move to Atlanta with her, leave Philly, come with me. He moved with her. He said the first year he started his trucking business, he made $100,000,
Hmm.
and that was strictly off of just being dedicated to learning on YouTube, not in no classroom. He said he just studied credit on YouTube and made $100,000 his first year after moving from Philly to Atlanta.
Hmm.
And it never left my mindset about how this young man just focused on his education
Yep.
and was able to turn that into a business, and the opportunity to like put himself in a better place just happened naturally. But
Hmm.
the studying is what allowed him to build a business that was worth 6 figures in his first year.
Man, when I tell you, now I learned about Bitcoin in 2008.
Hmm.
So when I learned about
So you
Bitcoin,
was even before the
it
movie.
it
Dope.
it was on it was let me see. When I learned about Bitcoin, it was in the black market.
Okay.
So it wasn't like
Wow.
Coinbase is 2023.
Yeah.
Coinbase wasn't even around when I learned about Bitcoin.
2013.
When I learned about Bitcoin, it probably was a dollar,
Yeah.
a couple of cents, 50 cents, something like that.
Yeah.
But the
How
education,
much money did they ask you to give them to invest in the Bitcoin?
that was 10,000. That was in 2017.
Jeez, man. Okay.
2017, it was like invest $10,000. At that time, you probably would have had about 11 coins.
Hmm.
But
But you learned about it before, even before then you
yeah,
heard
bro.
about
I mean, the reason I bring that up because it's about education, right?
it. Hmm.
YouTube learning about Bitcoin at that time was so hard because it was really on the black market. And I've been on the black market before and the internet, and it's a wild place.
Hmm.
I had a younger cousin that introduced me to that shit. To this day, I don't even know how to get back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's a wild place. So that's
Yeah.
how I learned about Bitcoin. They was doing, arms trades, stuff like
Yeah.
that with
Yeah.
and like really a lot of dark things, because it's not you can't trace it the same
Right.
way.
100%.
So like when you talk about educating yourself, man, education will put you up in life.
Hmm.
If you educate yourself and position yourself in the right way, it will put you up. And I'm a product of that because I got educated off screaming super early. and compare when everybody was like, "Oh, this is cheap." It's like, the value in music and all of those different type of things. I just kept my head down, kept building the catalog, understanding that world, figuring out how I can, grow that business.
Mhm.
And that business, I mean, it didn't just change my life. It changed a lot of people's life globally. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was because it was a certain level of like learning that I did like really 10 years ago.
Mhm.
Because we're talking about, well, not a full, it's actually longer than 10 years at this point because I started learning about it in 2010.
Mhm.
So we're talking about 14 years
Gee.
about just the education side of it. But in terms of me actually being like, nah, I think this is going to work, this is going to change my life,
Mhm.
it's been 10 years. That was 2015.
That faith you had in it
Yeah,
about
that's
10 years
2000.
ago.
Like, it's,
Man, yeah,
2015, I was like, yo,
yeah.
I need Spotify to be the R&B place, like the home for R&B. That's what I was telling the curators at
Wow.
Spotify in November, December 2015. Because I had an R&B thing, and I was like, I need y'all to support this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I mean,
So,
but you also saw the investment in the platform itself too. Like
yeah.
you knew the platform itself was going to be huge. I've been having a lot of conversations, and it feels like there is an interest to kind of go back to like hard physical things.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you feel like physicality will work in New America?
Oh, it's going to explode. It's going to explode. It's probably already exploded. I seen book sales went up.
Crazy.
Yeah, I seen book sales went up because see, humans are not gonna just completely thrive in a completely digital world.
Hmm.
Like, humans is gonna want to feel. They're gonna want to go and see
Yeah.
movies. They're gonna
Yeah.
want to go and like experience shows. They're gonna want to go and like take walks.
Hmm.
They're not gonna be in a simulator fucking taking a walk in their living room. They're gonna want to actually go out and breathe the air,
Yeah.
travel the world.
Uh-huh.
We're not designed to be like inside and
Right.
that level of domestication. Like it's gonna now that you can build your house to a way that you don't have to go walk your dog. You can
Wow.
make it so that the dog can go use the bathroom and where they're at. But the walking the dog ain't just for the dog. It's for the human too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like for me, I know for a fact I know for a fact we are going to gravitate more and more towards hard goods, hard products,
Hmm.
hard experiences. So you build out your digital knowing that people are going to want to come out to experiences.
Right.
They're going to want to come out and want to learn more about your brand.
Right.
And if they do come out, that means that your brand is more valuable. If they do follow you and come outside, that means that they trust your personal brand. They trust your word. You are somebody that can convince them that what you are doing is that valuable to come out of their house.
Right.
But they want to, though.
Yeah.
They want to come out of their house. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
But you do have to convince them. They're not gonna just come to come. Right.
No,
They got to feel invested in
no,
you, invested in what you're doing,
no.
in your experience. So I really feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I've been trying to set this call with this company called Fluent AI.
Mm-hmm.
We met. We didn't actually meet them. We did Invest Fest. Me and Vanessa.
Yep.
They had a sign that was like, "Hey, we're taking consultation calls." So I signed up for one. They seem to be a company that will assist you with like sending emails and keeping contacts and things of that nature. So I feel like that program that they've been using is what's been texting me, right? But I had a call that's supposed to be at 9:30 on Tuesday, and I feel like they missed the call. But I don't know if they missed the call because of the AI or they missed the call because they simply missed the call. But I was
Right.
waiting on the Zoom, and no one ever arrived on the Zoom. And then they text me again, being like, "Oh, our apologies, let's reschedule." So they rescheduled it, and that was my only thing. I was like, this feels like it would be efficient if it worked,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels like people are still trying to figure out how to build their companies with this new technology.
Right.
Do you see that as well? Like there's still like a learning curve that companies are still
Yeah.
dealing with.
Yeah. 100%. It's gonna be a learning curve with AI because it still has kinks.
Hmm.
It's not something you can just turn on automatically and just let it do what it do. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It still has kinks. And you got to know that it has kinks, and you got to know how the kinks can affect your company, right?
Hmm.
So it's like I invested into this AI cloning platform called Delphi.
Delphi. Hmm.
And I didn't make a mistake. I tweeted out my like link that you can come and like talk to the damn thing.
Yeah.
And so I just was one day just was curious. I could see all of the conversations in the back end.
Uh-huh.
I went in, I was looking at some of the conversations, and like I have this email called Ty at worldwidety.com,
Uh-huh.
and my damn AI gave an email to somebody.
Gave your real email to somebody.
I
Oh.
mean it's my real email,
Yeah.
but because I can program it to what to say,
Uh,
what not to say.
right.
But they done gave the email to somebody. They were trying to get some information. I thought it was the funniest shit.
Oh man.
But it's like that's the type of technology that's going on now. If I would have just unleashed the technology to know all my personal business, or if I got it on all my calls,
Yeah.
it'd be telling all type of shit.
So you have no idea
But
what it might be
you can
sharing.
program it
Got you.
accordingly so you'll know what you're giving it to share.
Man, that's interesting.
But
So you didn't give it your email to share?
no,
No.
I
Okay.
didn't. It but I had uploaded so much information through it probably wasn't that
Yeah.
hard to find. That's why
Exactly.
they gave him one of my old emails.
Right.
Like I don't even
Wow.
check that email. Like that email, if I check that email, it's because it's just randomly. I just
Uh-huh.
randomly check it.
Wow. That's like
It's
one of your
funny.
first emails that you made as
Yeah.
far as like, okay. That's really interesting. Well, yeah, but that's what I kind of love about this idea of new America, that it's new,
Hmm.
right? So in any type of newness, there is progress, there is kings. I always go back to the journalism industry, how the magazines, the double XLs, the vibes, they were not first online.
Hmm.
Like Complex had beat them online as far as like creating a lifestyle brand that also did interviews on
Right.
like the magazine format. Those like traditional formats, like the double XL vibe, they were not early online. They weren't early having websites. They weren't early having blogs. And part of it was a resistance
Right.
because it felt like, well, we're already selling hundreds of thousands of copies of magazines. We got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Why would we go online?
Right.
Because we're going online.
Short sighted.
Yeah. And I feel like that at times when it comes to businesses, you can be short sighted with transitioning in times of newness.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to understand that, if you see transitioning happening, you just got to know that, we can be extinct if we don't adjust.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
no,
you just got to know that.
that's real. I mean, I think, man, I don't remember. It had to be a your entire conversation where you were like, if bricks was the currency, then I would have been making bricks.
Yeah.
I would have been working to get bricks. And I feel like when you said that at that time, it was one of our earlier conversations. I was like, well, but money is running the games, running the world. Are we really ever gonna move to bricks? And bricks, not, we might have a brick coin in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like someone might feel that, well, I only want to focus on building my company this kind of way, I build my business this kind of way, and that might be cool for you, but to what Ty was just saying, don't end up extinct because you don't want to transition.
Yeah. I mean, you can easily somebody create a brick coin, a brick meme coin. Now they selling dope. They're selling dope. You know what I'm saying with the crypto. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you really might be onto something because I don't know if you know this, but Kevin Gates, he teamed up with this coffee company called Folks,
Mm,
and they're selling like bricks of coffee.
mm,
So all the marketing is like bricks. They got a Pyrex mug that you can fill your coffee up with. Like it's very like dope, heavily influenced,
hmm.
but it's a coffee brand. So I mean, I feel like just those aesthetics.
Oh, I think that's why I seen somebody say something. It was somebody complaining about Starbucks,
Yeah.
and I wanted somebody to retweet it, and it was like, leave it, shut up and just call Kevin Gates. And I was so confused. I didn't know what Kevin Gates got to do with this.
Yeah,
But
no.
now it makes sense
He
if he's in the coffee business.
That's hilarious. You saw that. You was like, what does Kevin
Oh, what
Gates
a
have
cake
to do
got to
with
do
it?
with the Starbucks and coffee?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One of my old mentors hit me up to help with some creative ideas around it.
That's
So
crazy.
when they sent me a brick of coffee, like it came in the mail, it was wrapped up, like it's a whole breakdown. It's a thing. Like the Pyrex mug is cool. I feel like
Right, right, right,
the aesthetics, but again, like you said, like all these things are transferable. Like
right.
these cultural touchstones, these aesthetics, the trap aesthetics.
Right.
That does not have to just stay like a rap music song.
No.
Like that could be a coffee company. That could be a meme coin. Like selling bricks of meme coins is crazy.
Yeah.
But I can imagine it in the next like 12 months, someone's gonna have that concept and it'll have a breakthrough because, you know, again, people are looking for stuff they recognize. When I look at just like what 50 Cent was able to do with like the BMF.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been hearing about BMF since goddamn Young Jeezy. I would have never thought that that would have been like a TV series that someone would be able to turn
Right.
into and make it like historically
Relevant
on TV. Because I always felt like it was like a whisper, like boy, they used to be in the clubs, boy, like that. But now to see like how that is, and it's like IP too. Like
Yeah.
BMF is IP now. And again, it's just like recognizing how all of these things that we watch every day, all the stuff that we see every day, receive it as what it is. This is somebody's intellectual property. They were able to sell that. Like even when it comes to movies that were used to be books and selling the IPs for the book to be a movie ends up selling more books.
Right.
You know, like all that is transferable in a way that I think is becoming even more relevant to if you're a creator of any kind. You should be considering how can this book you made become a movie? How can that movie you made become a book? How can anything that you are creating have a longer life by extending it into a new medium?
1,000%. I completely agree.
You
Tell
know,
you, man, like it's happening.
it is happening. It is
Well,
happening.
for diverse people, everybody has an opportunity. The information is out here. It's happening.
Yeah.
You know, the more you travel, the more you pay attention, the more you read, the more you educate yourself. It is happening.
And in this new America, would you say the new American dream is fuck you money?
Yeah, I mean, the old American dream is fuck your money.
Yeah.
The new American dream is definitely fuck your money. But you are being able to really, control your time,
Mm-hmm.
build it from a perspective where you feel really good about it. And it's going to be hard to get the information and to know what you're doing. But once you get your groove, then I think it gets smoother, and then you just got to keep elevating and advancing yourself
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
And that is another episode of FYM with Ty and Yo. Please share this with somebody that needs to know about the new America that we're in,
Yep.
the new times that we're in, and how they can put them in the best position to build wealth. See y'all soon.